Hello my scrappy friends, and a big welcome to you to my channel today. I'm really excited to share this one with you. Not only do I love the layout I've created, but the lovely Sarah from Sarah Scraps, I'll make sure I link her below, has invited me to join her this month as a guest designer for her Shimelle's Sketches Reimagined. I just showed you the sketch that we're working with this month. You would have also seen the screenshot of the layouts rejuvenated picture that I have, because I'm actually scrapping these photos for a second time. I was never actually happy with the first version that I did. I will make sure I'll pop a photo in somewhere of the first one that I did, so that you can compare the two. What I've got here is a piece of textured, I think, I'll double check in a sec, white cardstock. It has not been gessoed. I have done nothing to this paper at all. Now, all things considered, the paper has held up exceptionally well. Yes, it's textured cardstock, and you can see exactly what I'm doing here. I am adding colour, lots and lots of colour. Well, no, not lots of colour, one colour, blue. But I'm adding lots of different shades of blue. I showed you the photos in the beginning. They are two photos of my now 10-year-old who got to be the junior mascot for an AFL team. For those of you that are not in Australia, you may have no idea what I'm talking about. It is Australian Football League, and all the different states have got, most states I think have got at least two teams. And one of the suppliers from my husband's work is a major sponsor for this team that that Jacob went and did the junior mascot gig for. So the team that he did it for is called North Melbourne Football Club, also known as the Kangaroos. And ever since this particular event in his little life, he has been a North Melbourne supporter. Fun fact, however, is the game that they played here, they were actually playing in Perth, and they were playing the team that I support, which is the Fremantle Dockers. Be nice, people, be nice. And previous to this game, Jacob was a mini docker, but ever since this, he has been a North Melbourne Kangaroo supporter. Bless his little cotton socks. In fact, what he is wearing in these photos just fits him still, so yay. And that's what I'm documenting. We got some awesome feedback from the promotions manager at the time. He said these are some of the best photos that he's ever seen. Jacob was just so happy. So you could see what I've done is I've added lots of blue to that piece of cardstock. I did use my heat gun to dry it off because I had this idea in my head and I just wanted to go for it. I've used Color Bloom spray by Prima. I've used 13 Art spray, and some of my Kuretake watercolors. You can see here, so I knew I was going to flip the sketch. I knew straight away I was going to flip the sketch. I knew I was going to have it on one side or the other, but I hadn't worked out at this point which side, so that's what I was doing, flipping it around. So in the top photo, you can see the shortest little person there is my boy, and I've moved the page around a few times because I really wanted him to be the focus and his face to be the focus. And where he ends up on the page, he's definitely the focus. So that's kind of, I got to this point when, oh, I just don't know. I knew I wanted to rough these up. I just hand cut these. Literally, I just grabbed my scissors and started cutting it. I'm quite happy with how it turned out. It's not perfect, but that's okay. Now, I was a little bit impatient. You can see I've torn that. The paper was still a bit damp. You can see I'm here still trying to get this configuration right. I'm like, he kind of fades off into the background. I really want him to be more obvious. How am I going to make this work? So playing with the configuration, and I fall back to my rule of thirds. I'm kind of happy with that. And so I'm like, okay, I want to add some more to the background. I've got my Finnabair paper texture paste here, And I love this stencil. I love, love, love it. It's one of my favorites, and I don't use it anywhere near enough. I used a pencil to mark in where the sun rays and where my photos were going to go, and I'm just adding this texture paste kind of so it comes out and around almost in the shape of kind of a rough D from the top left around to the bottom right. And you can see I'm just adding that paste. This stuff dries really quickly, which is one of the reasons I really like it, and it takes colour really well. So because of the grid nature of this stencil, it was super easy to line back up. And what I'm doing here, this paste was almost dry. I'm just going in and kind of smushing the edges out so that I get that more smooth blend. I picked up that technique from Michelle Grant a couple of years ago when I went to Queensland. Okay, so I have stitched through all of my my blue wedges there, and I'm trying to show you the texture here. This stuff is so awesome. It's quite bumpy as well. I have sprayed my, no, I was going to say sprayed my water with paper. No, I've sprayed my paper with water, and I'm coming in here with a lighter blue. Now I chose a lighter blue. It's really hard to pick in the photos, but I know, because he wore these socks for a very long time, there's that really bright dark blue, but instead of white like the players have got, he's got this really light sky blue, and I thought I'm going to pick up on that in the photos in my background. So I started with my Kuretake watercolors, and I think the color is 61. I tried some shimmers. I think that is Snow Wayman, but the color wasn't right, so I was like, meh. I just went over that with a different color, and then I grabbed my Colder Than Ice. This adds beautiful sparkle. I am looking at my layout right now. The sparkle this gives is so awesome. I love it. Not that that's why I picked it. I didn't pick it for the sparkle. But my boy does definitely sparkle and shine at every given opportunity. Bless his little cotton socks. So yeah, I'm just going in, adding the colour here. What I've done for this part, now my paper is really wet. I'm using, I think this is the basil marshmallow. So I haven't applied gesso to this, I don't think. But because it is the basil, it held up to the water really well. Like this page, when I put it down, you can see all the water's seeping through to the back and it's going onto my mat, but my paper is still in one piece, and like there's no holes, there's no tearing. I'm so happy with this background. I really love it. So I'm just adding color. I just want to make sure I've got enough on there because I know it's probably going to dry a bit lighter. And you can see it's like flopping because it's so wet. Pop some paper towel under that. As it was drying, I went in and I added splatters in the Kuretake watercolor and the shimmers Colder Than Ice. And by this point, I had decided that I'm going to flip my background back the other way and have the sunburst on the right hand side instead of the left hand side. And I'm just going to start sticking these papers down. I am literally putting glue right onto the center where the stitching line is, and holding it in place for a minute. And that is that all done. Now this next bit of the video, I was zooming with some friends, so it might be a bit all over the place. In the sketch, there is that border down that side, and I was determined to get on a light blue and a dark blue, and that's what I was working on there. I'm going to add some tissue paper, so I couldn't decide what I wanted to do with that strip down the edge, so I gave up and moved on to something else. Some tissue paper behind my photos, which I do not make you watch because it's not really very exciting. Like, yes, so you can see in the bottom photo that Jacob is right on that line right there. You can see he's on that rule of thirds line, bottom right hand side of the page. He really stands out, and I've made sure that I've embellished right like right next to him as well, so that you can really see him. He was the obviously he's my kid, the focus of this, and with all those really big, I think the guy on his left hand side, and if you're a mad AFL fan, like, I'm sorry, but I think the dude on his left is like the tallest dude in the whole season, in the whole AFL. So my little shorty is right up next to him. I've got some other fantastic photos. I think I'm going to do a pocket page to accompany this. So I've got my photos lined up how I want them. I know that they're going to, that bottom photo needs to line up so that he is on that vertical line. And I decided that I'm going to go with just the dark blue. I am going to distress the edges on that, since I've distressed the edges on all of those other blue papers, using my T-square ruler, and I'm going to just stick that down. Again, just using the wet glue, making sure I'm putting that in the middle so it sticks. Adding some dimension behind my photos. No more mucking around with them. I think I'm going to stick them straight down. Oh, for some reason that paper strip was longer than 12 inches. Go figure. Okay, so on the right hand side there you can see my little container. It's got all my Coco Vanilla Studio stuff. I have sped this up super fast. Firstly, I really struggle with flare badges. Really struggle with them. I don't know why, but I do. I knew I wanted to include the U-Rock one. Like I said, I've gone to my Coco Vanilla Studio stash, and I currently have 3 flare badges on the page, which you are very lucky and you get to watch me shuffle them around. I have sped up a lot of this footage, and I have removed part of this footage because it really isn't exciting watching me move the same 3 flare badges around the page a gazillion times. So I gave up on trying to work out the perfect placement for the flares, and I've moved on to the next thing. I found the blue and white striped chipboard frame, and then I found these chipboard the best. I felt really strange covering up people in the photo. So I quickly changed my mind from there. I'm trying to stick to the sketch as close as I can, knowing I've already changed it a bit. And in the end, you can definitely see that I did get this from the sketch. But obviously it is a bit different. So I dropped it back to 2 flares, I think. Nope, still trying to get that 3rd one on. Thinking that my title is going to be the best. Moving those flare badges. Like I said, I have cut part of this out. Keeping it real for you, that's what I'm doing. Didn't like them there. Don't like them there. So I got annoyed, turned the camera off, and played with some other things. You can see I'm down to 1 flare badge. I'm really excited. So I pulled out the Legendary collection as well as the U-Rock collection. And I have managed to get those big open stars onto my page. I am super happy. I have got some black thread here. Now the U-Rock has got some black in it, so I wanted to add a little bit more black to the page without adding too much. So I've added some black thread behind that star there. And I'm fussing with the thread, which was also annoying me. Pretty sure I end up just shoving it underneath. Yep, I'm like, fine, get under there. Because my background is so textured, I have to kind of hold everything on the page for a few seconds. I'm going to add some more of this black thread behind my flare. Muck around with that for a bit because I didn't have it quite right. And you can see that's right at Jacob's feet, so it really draws your attention into where he is. I thought that this would stick, and it moved around for ages, but it's stuck now. So on the sketch there is the 3 places of embellishment. I've kind of shifted mine a little bit, but kind of stuck to the sketch as well. yeah, so I've got I use those 3 stars as kind of my starting off point. I've got that, I moved the frame to the other side of each of the photos, and then that incredible little flag was actually, had the banner ends on either end, but I chopped one off because I thought it looked better this way. I'm so excited that I managed to get these big stars on the page. I'm going to distress all of the ephemera pieces that I've got. So down the bottom here, I've got the star, the flare. I've got this season pass, which I thought was really appropriate for a football page. I've got, I think the other 2 pieces that go in there are stickers. Yeah, they're from the sticker sheet. Just adding those as layers. I end up pulling that off because it's not where I want it to be. And I try to stick that down, and it's a sticker. You can see to the left hand side there's a little bear there. I fussy cut him from, I'm not sure which paper it is, but it's one of the cut aparts, and there was a bear on one of the papers, and I've always called him my baby bear. So I've added that. I've added this, yeah, that's my boy sticker, and then I've added in 3 of those typed stickers and my journaling. I'm going to come in with some tiny black splatters and some Nouveau drops in the black, and that is my page done. So those 3 word strips, the one at the top says "you got this," the one in the middle says "superstar," and then the one by the title says "what a character." My journaling says, "What an incredible experience for you, Jacob. Junior mascot for North Melbourne Football Club in round 8 of the AFL 2015. Their sponsorship coordinator said, I can honestly say these are some of the best mascot photos we have seen. He is so happy. And from this day forward, we have a North Melbourne Football Club supporter." So 5 years ago, and like I said, he's still a North Melbourne Football Club supporter. Bless him. Been looking like crazy, and we do every year for a jacket or a Guernsey or something to buy him, and because we're in WA, we hardly get any other team paraphernalia, I've forgotten the word, in WA for like the other states, and in kid sizes, which is really annoying. So some close-ups on the video. Oh, I've also added those 3 arrows from the ephemera pack. Yay! I took a ton of photos here. I really had so much fun playing along. Thank you, Sarah, for having me with you. If you don't know, Shimelle was my first inspiration for 12 by 12 scrapbooking. She gave me lots of tips and tricks from her online videos and classes. I still am, like, if she releases a class, I'm on it. I'm there. So, yes. Yeah. So this is kind of has double meaning for me. I'm really excited that Sarah asked me, but Shimelle is definitely someone that inspires me every single time I see what she creates. As always, thank you so much for stopping by. I'll make sure I leave the links to Sarah below and Shimelle. Have a fantastic scrappy day, and I will see you again soon with another share.